waiting word on whether the president will actually sign it. So you're going to want to stay with us right through this hour. We're going to be analyzing it line by line for you, and you got to know what's in this thing. Plus, the failure of the high-speed rail project in California. It's one of my favorite issues ever. I've been tracking this for years. It's just the latest in a long line of liberal pie-in-the-sky disasters. My angle will explain what politicians have lied to you along the way and what lessons you can take from this. And also tonight, the revenge of the Asman. Why am I having to say this? We told you about this last week. A lot of you apparently are interested in this, okay? And I have a question. Are you celebrating Galentine's Day? This is so disturbing. Raymond Arroyo is with us in a very wild scene and unseen tonight. But first, I want all of you to understand what's at stake and what's going on here tonight. No matter what anyone tells you, this so-called border deal is a complete abdication of responsibility by Congress. It has nothing, zero, nada, to do, it doesn't do anything to stem the crush of humanity that we're seeing at our southern border right now. There has been a 290% increase in the number of so-called family units illegally crossing into America just in the first 4 months of this fiscal year. As the Washington Post reported, quote, after surrendering to authorities, the families are driven to Border Patrol stations where they typically state a fear of deportation and a desire to seek asylum in the United States. In most cases, the families are released after a few days and assigned a court date. Last month, an unprecedented 59% of all border apprehensions were comprised of migrants traveling in family groups. Well, what the Post didn't tell you is that 90% of these migrants are not really eligible for asylum, but instead have been coached by immigration activists or lawyers or by other family members or friends already in the United States. And their claims will ultimately be rejected by immigration judges. But it doesn't matter because most never show up for their hearings and many, during that interim period, have children here. So then they're never going to be sent back. Democrat lawmakers will invariably say that border crossings are down. They're not up. Well, guess what? Don't fall into that trap. That's irrelevant. It's a red herring. When 1,800 adults and children crossed illegally into the U.S. on Monday alone, including 2 groups of more than 300 just in El Paso, we have a full-blown border crisis. Smugglers get rich, cartels infiltrate the caravans, and hardworking Americans get stuck with a tab. Education costs, healthcare costs, housing, and court-appointed interpreters, just to lay out a few budget items. Of course, this could all stop tomorrow if Congress did what it should do tonight. All asylum applications should be filed outside of America. This itself removes the incentive to both storm border checkpoints and to cross illegally. Secondly, the law must be changed to allow for immediate border turnbacks. In other words, you come here from Honduras or Guatemala and you're sent immediately back, which is what we do now with Mexicans who cross illegally. Third, 1 illegal border crossing and you're out. You're back home, and that means back to zero tolerance. Meaning once we caught you're deported and you may not apply to return legally to the United States. That would have a powerful deterrent effect when people want to come. Maybe they'll actually apply to come legally. And finally, prosecute more adults for child endangerment. American parents, they're thrown in jail for letting their kids walk home from school alone, let alone putting them in situations where they don't have proper food or water. So why do illegal aliens get special treatment? Dragging kids through very dangerous territory, the desert, food, water limited, cartels, coyotes, people who will prey on them. That is irresponsible. Those are just a few of my ideas. What are yours? Congress? What are you going to do? Here now, Mark Morgan, Obama's former Border Patrol chief, Luis Miranda, who is a former communications director for the DNC, and Dan Bongino, former Fox News contributor. Mark, you've been at the helm of an important enforcement agency in all of this. What did I leave out in my prescriptions?
Laura, as I was listening to you, my first reaction is you can just drop the mic, because everything you said was just right. And from a border security perspective, this proposal is an absolute failure. They not only didn't listen to the experts on the tools and resources they needed, they have absolutely rejected that. And one thing I want to add that's very important, American people need to understand what they're doing with ICE beds. So think about this. This proposal reduces the ICE beds, and I'm not a mathematician, but reduces the ICE beds. As you just pointed out, illegal immigration is skyrocketing. Again, you don't have to be a mathematician. What does that mean? Catch and release 2.0. They're going to have to release them.
They're codifying catch and release, Dan Bongino. And I know there are a lot of Republicans out there trying to put a good face on all of this because they love the president and they want him to be successful. But I say tonight, they are failing this nation, and they are failing to enact the Trump agenda. And then they put him up against the wall saying, you're going to shut down the government. And this was planned to go this way all along, in my view. Dan.
Yeah, I mean, Laura, listen, the president's been candid. He said himself yesterday in the cabinet room that this was a bad deal. But what is he going to do? You know, here's the problem, Laura. We're dealing with a political party in the Democrats that's given up on America completely. They've committed to the destruction of our borders, our economy with this Green New farce and all this other stuff out there. We're having ridiculous arguments like, do walls work? These aren't even sane arguments. We're not dealing with a rational party anymore. So we have one party committed to the destruction of the country as we know it, and another party, not all Republicans, but a good swath of them, let's be candid, who've abandoned the president and are complete cowards. They're afraid of the media. What do you want the president to do? The guy's in a corner. He's sitting there fighting the swamp sometimes almost entirely by himself. It's embarrassing.
Luis, I want to go to you because people have been saying, well, Americans are against the wall. Okay, I was down in El Paso, Texas. I think, and this was an underreported fact, and you could see it when our overhead shots of the crowd, it was at least 50% Hispanic. And they were people from Central America, mostly Mexicans, but other parts of the world. And people are third and fourth generation Americans, Hispanic.
Were you
Americans.
at Beto's rally? Or?
No, I was at Trump's rally.
Okay.
I mean, I was covering it and broadcasting. And it dwarfed Beto's rally. Beto had a good turnout, but it wasn't anywhere near Trump's. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, I'm not going to debate that. I was actually there instead of hearing these people in Washington telling me what I saw with my own eyes. But this is what the new polling is saying. Fox News poll just out today for support for the border wall. It's up 3% from last month. So now it's up at 46%. September it was 39%. But what people are hearing, I think, is, oh, well, Trump wants to build a wall from sea to shining sea. Well, because he's never said that. He wants to build a wall where a wall makes sense. Why, when we see all the waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington, D.C., why wouldn't people who want to come to our country legally say, good, we want to make you feel more secure about your country. If a wall makes you feel more secure, it's fine with us because we're going to come legally.
Well, I'm glad you said that because there isn't a good legal system. And all that the president has done so far has actually made it harder for people who do want to seek asylum to actually find that. And there's legitimate violence and incredibly big violence and a very difficult environment for people who really are fleeing their homes to come to the border. And I agree with you, what you said earlier. Like, let's create points for them to be able to request asylum along the way, and let's assign more judges to be able to adjudicate those cases more quickly.
Okay, we can agree on that.
Do that.
I mean, people want us to fight on everything.
But that's not what he's trying to do. He's trying to, he promised a wall for 2,000 miles.
Luis.
And here's the reality. If it was an emergency
today. Are we a country?
Today,
I have a simple question.
It's going to take
through all this
10 years
CRAP. Are we a country? Un país?
Of course.
Oh, no.
Of course.
We're a country, right? We're a country.
I haven't
What does a country have? A thing called sovereignty, yes?
It has citizens. It has
Can we
laws.
determine who comes in and out, yes or no?
It has rules. Here's the thing.
You won't answer that question.
I will.
You will not answer that question.
You have employers
we get a
right
sovereign
now
right, a God-given right.
They're not coming here to sit by the pool. They're coming here to work because there are employers who are giving them.
You can't say that you know what everyone's coming to do.
George W. Bush himself.
Oh, thank you.
Suspended wage laws to be able to bring in.
Oh, yeah. That was a big success.
The Gulf Coast after
huge
Katrina.
success.
So let's not pretend like they're coming on their own volition. They're coming because they're being given jobs by industries that are not getting fined under the Trump administration.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm happy to find all those industries. Dan, Kevin McCarthy tried to sum up the situation, building on the political situation that this president finds himself in. Let's watch.
The president is getting a victory there. They tried to eliminate the beds. We have the same cap that we had before. What it really is not providing the $5 billion, just 1/10 of 1% of the whole budget. This bill is a down payment. The president still has other avenues that he can use to get the rest of the money and finish it.
Dan, hold on 1 second. Mark, I want you quickly on that, then I want Dan.
He shouldn't have to resort to level 2 and 3, right? Congress should do what they're 230 miles, the experts. It's not sea to shining sea. That is a false narrative, and you know it. 230 miles is all they're asking from the experts. And the beds, right now, ICE has 49,000 people. The experts are saying we need 52,000, and Congress says we'll give you 42. It's a failure. It's a colossal failure.
Yeah, and Dan, this last minute little trickery that they always engage in is when you really have to look closely at what. That's why we're waiting for this hour, for this thing to drop. There's always little golden nuggets tucked in the language of the bill. They tried to do that with the amnesty back in 2013. That flamed out. But we got to look at it very carefully. And I don't like the cram through, the rush through to the very last minute. Got to sign it, sir. You're going to shut down the government. It's an irresponsible abdication of duty. Everyone on Capitol Hill who's supporting this thing got us to this situation should be ashamed of themselves. I'm sorry. I'm so angry about what they did here.
No, you should be, Lauren. You're right. There'll be a poison pill. And my suspicions are the poison pill will be some limitations on the construction of a barrier. And the barrier will be one the Democrats want, which means it will be no barrier at all. It'll be like a 3D hologram barrier. Like that will be the poison pill. Here's what the Republicans need to do. The Republicans need to sign a quickie short CR here. But when this bill's out there, to give them enough time to look at this thing, because, Laura, you nailed it. There will be absolutely some poison pill. And just one quick thing. Mark is absolutely right. Luis, with all due respect, you came in here with talking points, and that's nonsense. Nobody has advocated in this bill for a sea to shining seawall. You're just making that up. You literally are making it up. And Mark is right. It is a
so I'm talking about the president's promises. He made a promise he couldn't keep on the campaign.
To promise to safeguard and secure this nation. Yeah, that's what he's promising.
What's happening now?
But you want him to do the wall? But now I'm confused. Like the Democrats, you promised a wall. So do you want him to do the wall?
I think we need a comprehensive set of measures. It doesn't. This is exactly what this compromise is. It's democracy. It is Democrats and Republicans working together. Neither side is going to get all that it wants, and it's going to work towards providing some fencing, but also providing other measures that are important. If you do just one thing,
we have to pay? Why should the American worker have to work 2 jobs so they can send their kids to public schools that are teeming with kids? The classrooms are already overcrowded. And now in Fairfax County, Virginia, Prince William County, Virginia, they are overcrowded classrooms, and teachers are trying to do their very best, but they're dealing with 17 languages in Fairfax County, spoken by children coming in. Now, I love languages. They're wonderful. But that's a huge burden on the regular working person who's busting their butt every day to put food on the table. And the politicians are giving them the big middle finger. Because they didn't vote for this.
Politicians are doing nothing about the fact that there is a legitimate labor job bringing people over. Let's give them a legitimate way to come when there are jobs available, and let's give them a way to apply for asylum without creating these fake crises. There's definitely
So 1,800 people coming to the border, crossing the border illegally with kids, just on Monday is not a crisis?
What I'm talking about is the fact that this has been turned into you want a wall built? It's going to take years to build it. It's not going to be built tomorrow. So if there's a legitimate crisis today, what we could be doing is, again, working with those countries to make sure
we're going to talk
that there's ways for them to apply for asylum.
I think we reached some agreement. I'm looking at the good side. I think we actually reached some agreement on one point, and that's where people should apply for asylum. The president, I hope, is listening to this tonight. I thank you for joining us, Luis, and thank you so much, Mark and Dan. Panel was fantastic.
Well, you have thousands and thousands of people coming from Guatemala, from Honduras and El Salvador, and they march up through Mexico. And by the way, if we didn't have walls in those areas, in some cases that we put up, in many cases where we reinforce, in many cases where our great military helped us with barbed wire, you would have people pouring in. They don't pour in.
Well, that was the president the other night spelling out the dangers that are involved inside these caravans that make their way from Central America through Mexico to our southern border. Tonight, in an Ingram Angle exclusive, we have word that yet another caravan is forming, one, of course, that our next guest says could be the biggest yet. Joining us now exclusively, Guatemalan Secretary of Intelligence, Mario Duarte. Buenas noches, señor secretario.
Buenas noches.
Bienvenido al programa.
Thanks,
Good to have you on. what do we need to know here? I mean, you've been warning about this for years, actually. But a lot of people think about Central America. I've been there a lot, as you know. Spent a lot of time in Salvador and Guatemala. But what the American people sort of think, like, why can't we get a little more help from our friends in Guada or El Salvador or Honduras? Why the transit allowed by the people from Honduras, where these caravans start? You guys are letting them through, and they're making their way up to Mexico. Why?
Well, first off, thank you for having me, Laura. I think it's not completely correct to say that we're just allowing them through. Guatemala signed with different countries of Central America a treaty that allows the Central American citizens to flow freely through Central American territory. However, under the condition that they
there's the Guatemala-Mexico border.
Correct. That they report at the border. Now, this is a different situation.
Yeah, that's in
what happened
Mexico.
there was a violent overpowering of our police forces and of our border. Unfortunately, these people, the organizers of these caravans, put little kids, babies, women, and the elderly at the front, and started pushing them against our police forces. We need to take care of their human rights, of their dignity, of their lives, and obviously we had to. It was either the lives of those people, of those innocents, or allowing them into Guatemalan territory. Now, we did an effort, and President Morales ordered his security forces to set up all these different checkpoints. And we ended up returning more than 6,500 Hondurans back to Honduras that were illegally in Guatemala in these caravans.
You guys arrested 100 ISIS suspects back in the fall. They were not part of the caravan. That was erroneously reported. But they were arrested in Guatemala?
Actually, these are special interest aliens.
Special interest. So
special interest
it's
aliens.
Reported as ISIS, but these are people from countries that are...
Special interest aliens,
okay.
And some of them with links, possible links.
Some with possible links.
Correct,
okay.
to terrorism organizations.
But so that's a lot of people in Guatemala that you guys sent out. Is there a concern at all that through the caravan, other people can slip in? We know MS-13 has slipped into the caravan, and mini cartel forces have made their way into caravans in Mexico, because that's the reports we're getting.
Those are only parts of the threats and the risks that come with these caravans, right? Think about them as they have been weaponized. These poor people, these innocents, have been weaponized as literally political tools of the socialist movement throughout Latin America that are coming towards the United
political
States.
activists are pushing these caravans.
Correct. They have weaponizing those in need.
Now, this group, Puebla Sin Fronteras, in the United States, they have one particular kind of lead organizer, Irineo Mujica. He's... this individual is a problem, and he's been, I believe he was arrested down there in Mexico, and they're part of the coaching squads, too, who coach everybody to say they have a credible fear.
That is correct.
Why is Central America being depopulated?
It's not so much as depopulated. Like I said, all these activists, leftist activists, with the purpose of undermining conservative movements, both in the United States and in our countries, are really weaponizing these people in need, offering them a false opportunity in the United States, and they're falling for it.
Yeah. Well, what about this other caravan? What can you tell us? New caravan.
Well, it's amassing. It's coming through the Colombian jungle into Panama.
Colombian jungle. So it's coming from South America.
So from South America into Panama.
So any Venezuelans hooking in with this caravan?
There is some Venezuelans. There is mostly Cubans and a lot of Africans. That's the latest we know. We shared a video already with some people.
30,000 strong?
Well, that's their purpose. That's how many people they want to put together.
Oh, okay.
Right now, there's around
is.
1,000 or around something like that. But again, it's another caravan forming with the same intent, again, being coached by people, being weaponized, like I said, by these leftist movements.
But I want to play something. This is an American commentator. This is what he says about our wall and whether there's any crisis. Let's watch.
History will really frown on the Republicans. You just give one instance. How about sending troops down when there's no caravan coming? Sending American troops down, literally like Tinker Toy soldiers. And we can go on and on and on, and they stand by. And to me, you see what you get with Trump.
Okay, so he was talking about the caravan there, not the wall. No caravan. There are no caravans, apparently.
Probably they're watching the wrong channel. You need to watch Fox News Morning.
I mean, there's no caravans. I mean, there's no caravans. There's no crisis. Did you see it as a crisis in Guatemala with people coming through?
Well,
and
it definitely was a crisis for us. We had to deploy over 3,000 strong police officers, our military, EMTs, first responders throughout the nation, through our borders, in trying to stop this illegal flow of migrants. And we had to check on them and make sure that they were.
We're going to keep checking with you, but we got to work together, our countries, to get this stopped. But thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
President Morales would love to meet President Trump and find solutions for this problem.
All right. Less than a week after the Green New Deal was rolled out to disastrous effect, California scrapped another Enviro obsession, their absurd high-speed rail project. I'm going to tell you all about it in the Angle next. The liberal train to nowhere. That's the focus of tonight's Angle. Oh, the excitement. Oh, the promise. It seemed like yesterday when the Democrats were crowing about how government-funded high-speed rail would revolutionize travel in the United States.
I make no bones about it. I like trains. I like high-speed trains even better.
Building a new system of high-speed rail in America will be faster, cheaper, and easier than building more freeways or adding to an already overburdened aviation system, and everybody stands to benefit.
We're making to achieve the goal through the development of high-speed rail projects that will extend eventually all across this nation.
And in 2011, Obama Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood appeared with an array of Democrat darlings to sell the high-speed snake oil.
35 states have accepted high-speed intercity rail money. If there's more money made available, they're ready to get in. When you look at our budget that we hope that we can turn into a transportation bill, $550 billion over 6 years. I don't know of another time in the history of transportation any president has been so bold to put forth such a plan and such a big vision.
Yeah, he had blurry vision. Okay, Obama's 2009 stimulus bill dangled billions to states to get them to invest in this high-speed rail. Well, now, a lot of states smartly turned down the seed money, knowing full well that the final cost could be a lot more, could be double or even triple the original projections. So they didn't want to be left holding the bag. But two of the most reliably Democrat states in America, Hawaii and California, gladly took the money. California received grants of $3.5 billion to connect San Francisco and Los Angeles, meaning 100-plus miles of high-speed rail had to go through the Central Valley's beautiful farmland. And as with so many liberal pipe dreams, a myriad of problems dogged this project from the start. The original cost projection for the San Fran to L.A. track was $45 billion. But soon, the estimate jumped to $77 billion. Now, 2 years ago, the LA Times diagnosed this situation accurately, saying the California system is being built by an independent authority that has never built anything and depends on a large network of consultants and contractors for advice. Even after 5 years of effort to buy property, the rail authority still lacks 25% of the parcels for a 29-mile stretch from Madera to Fresno and just over half of the parcels needed for the 118 miles in the Central Valley. And another fun fact, it keeps getting better. To achieve their nirvana of high-speed rail, Democrats were even willing to throw their other religion under the bus, environmentalism. So huge opposition to the project developed from greeniacs and also farmers, and that led to Mongo delays. So, my friends, this was a joke from the start. And the only people who benefited were the countries that bought our debt to fund it and the consultants who lined their pockets, selling this as a panacea for congested roads. Now, this is no different, though, from so many other unnecessary and unwanted liberal projects that require billions to fund and just end up driving us further into debt. I think of Vermont's idea, for the single-payer dream in 2011, before it ended, basically before it began, when Governor Peter Schulman realized it had become too costly to implement, and then he just called the whole thing off. And who can forget Obama's solar energy grants to Solyndra and Fisker Automotive, just to name a few? There were 5 defaulted loans that American taxpayers were on the hook for as a result of that boondoggle. And of course, none of these examples of waste, fraud, and abuse ever matter to the fanatics on the left. Their goals of their Green New Deal, oh my God, what does that tell us? Tell us that they're actually doubling down on all of the failures of the past. In fact, yesterday, California Governor Gavin Newsom lowered expectations for the project, kind of yanked it from under its feet, but he kept insisting that he won't return the $3.5 billion that his state wasted on this nightmare.
Abandoning the high-speed rail entirely means we will have wasted billions and billions of dollars with nothing but broken promises, partially fulfilled commitments, and lawsuits to show for it. And with all due respect, I have no interest in sending back $3.5 billion of federal funding that was allocated to this project to President Donald Trump.
Well, Shazam! Isn't that a neato trick? Newsom is basically shutting down huge parts of the high-speed rail project, but he's keeping all of the money. Well, just moments ago, we had a little tweet-off. The president telling Newsom and California that he wants the money back for the American taxpayers. And Newsom responded in the last few minutes that this is California's money and, quote, we're not giving it back. A typical liberal thinks it's their money. Other people's money is their money. It's the taxpayers' money, Gavin. You know, I was thinking, think of all of the congressional Democrats who tonight are opposed to spending $5 billion on a wall that will help the entire country. Something that can actually be built under budget and will actually be effective. Radical Congressman Juan Vargas, who, by the way, represents areas in the extreme southern portions of California, he's actually even opposing the measly $1.375 billion border deal, saying we shouldn't give him a penny for his wall. It was a political stunt. It's a total waste of money. A waste of money coming from California. What a travesty. If the new and improved, more socialist Democrats get their hands on the reins of power in 2020, you can bet your bottom dollar that we're all going to be hurtling down the tracks to fiscal ruin and feeling a bit like this.
What are you doing to my mama? Making a wish? What the hell do you think I'm doing, Owen?
It will be just like that. And that's the angle. Coming up, last week we brought you the urgent case of a man with an unfortunate last name who was denied a license plate bearing that name. Well, he must have been watching because we have an important update for you. Raymond Arroyo is here with that and a lot more, and seen and unseen next. Fox News has just been notified that the final text of the border security package should be available within the next hour. And from there, the process could start in the Senate as early as tomorrow. That light is on still in the Capitol Dome, meaning they are still in. Still at this hour, we can't tell you whether the president's going to sign it or not. We are told that he is looking for, quote, landmines in the bill as he comes to his final decision. We'll bring you any updates as they come. And now it's time for our Seen and Unseen segment, where we expose the big cultural stories of the day. Tonight, a holiday you've probably never heard of, a Grammy surprise, and more. Joining us now with all the details, Raymond Arroyo, Fox News contributor, New York Times bestselling author of the book, Will Wilder and the Amulet of Power, that the Ingram children are reading because I'm reading it to them. Available at bookstores starting on Tuesday. All right, Raymond. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
It is Valentine's Day.
But today, I guess I missed my opportunity.
Not yet.
What is it? It's apparently Galentine's
Day. Now, Laura, this so-called holiday entered the cultural consciousness in 2010 with an episode of Parks and Rec. Now it's become a phenomenon. Here's the episode in question, and then I'll tell you what's happening.
What's Galentine's Day? Oh, it's only the best day of the year. Every February 13th, my lady friends and I leave our husbands and our boyfriends at home, and we just come and kick it breakfast style. Ladies celebrating ladies.
Laura, now bands of women are filling restaurants to celebrate each other. Hallmark even has 16 Galentine's greetings, and other cards feature greetings like, You are a goddess, glorious female warrior, or uteruses before deuteruses.
Isn't it uteri?
I don't know. You know what's driving this? There was a survey by the National Retail Federation.
Money.
Only 51% of Americans are celebrating Valentine's Day, down from 63% in 2007. It's all about the green. And you see, St. Valentine, you will remember, was beheaded for erroneously marrying couples. The Emperor Claudius wanted them outlawed. He went forward with marriage. People are losing their heads over this silly Galentine's Day thing. I don't like Galentine's. There's an anti-male bias in Galentine's that I don't like.
It does seem a bit defensive. It's a defensive holiday.
It is.
And, you know, I've never been one to sit around with a bunch of women at the table. I've always been more of a guy's girl.
Well, I know why the
Shocker.
The restaurants want this because they want a table full of ladies, and the women love buying flowers and candies and candles for each other. Men, not a big thing. Now, we have a Valentine to share with each other, which the staff is made of.
Is yours first?
I guess. Can you put it up?
Yours first?
You're the right angle for me.
Rebecca would love to. Rebecca would love to. That's just in general.
Yes, there's another one now.
Okay, this would be for Raymond. Arroyo wants to be your boyo.
Oh,
okay,
that's definitely.
You're
for
fired.
Rebecca.
Whoever wrote that. That is
okay.
Really bad.
Go ahead. One person who really loves himself, Laura, emerged this week.
Michelle Obama.
Ah, yes.
Made a surprise and very, very glamorous appearance at the Grammys on Sunday. Now, a new series of text messages between her mother and her have been released. And it is a bit curious.
Yeah.
Mother Robinson, as she's called.
We'll put it up on the screen. You see that Mother Robinson writes, I guess you were a hit at the Grammys. Michelle writes,
I'm sitting here with Valerie, Jared, I guess.
Yeah.
And this text is so typically you. Did you watch it?
And she says, I saw it because Gracie called me. Did you meet any of the real stars, or did you just run right after you were done?
I told you I was going to be on it.
No, you did not. I would have remembered that, even though I don't remember much.
Emoji, 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 laughing. I thought I told you. And I'm a real star, by the way.
Yeah.
I am a real star, by the way.
Yeah, that's what Mother Robinson said.
Okay.
She's the only one that could put Michelle in her place, and she did.
I love Mother Robinson.
Okay, Laura, an update to our story last week. You remember Dave Assman of Saskatchewan. He was forbidden by the government from putting his name on a personalized license plate. Well, this week, he found some self-love. He got a decal of his name, Assman, on the rear end of his pickup truck.
On the rear end.
For all the world to see. Assman's
It's pronounced Osman.
No, it isn't. Osman is the original pronunciation. I heard him repeatedly in interviews. He said, Assman. Dave Assman. He's proud to be an Assman. Let him be proud. It's his day. It's Valentine's Day. He's finding the love.
We're not playing the Seinfeld again.
No, we're not doing that again. We're not doing. We did that last week.
By the way, Mother Robinson, remember she used to call into my radio show?
She did. She did.
I mean, at least as someone who said she was Mother.
Said they were.
Or she said MR.
MR. Oh, you never.
And it was always a little fishy.
Okay. I have a
What
little
is that gold package?
Random House sent me this. I'm opening it on the show.
Oh, this is like, talk about like the Grammys.
Well,
and the winner is.
This is like the Grammys. And the winner is, I can't open the
Don't you hate those plastic
This
bubble
thing
wraps?
is
They never
awful.
want.
You always
Okay,
should have the props pre-done.
30 seconds. They're
Just
gonna blow
seconds.
this whole
Can I get it open?
Oh,
they sent scissors across it.
They're sending.
My first hardback. They sent it. Will Wilder 3. So excited.
Oh, okay.
I'll share this with you all.
It's coming out Monday?
Tuesday, bookstores everywhere, an adventure for the family. The whole family can take part. An adventure.
All I can
Boys
say is
love
we
it,
started
as well as
reading,
girls.
and Nico's eyes got really big because there are demons crawling on.
It's a little scary and fun.
Demons are crawling on the ceiling. That's all, and it's in the Louvre in Paris during World War II.
But good
That's all
wins
I'm gonna
in the
say.
end.
All right, we have great segment. We have an important update to a story that we brought you. Covington Catholic boys, of course. An independent investigation has just wrapped up. We're going to tell you what it concluded. Plus, the Trump family is fighting back against a New York Attorney General. Well, Joe DeGenova is here on why they may have a case. A brand new independent investigation revealing tonight that Nick Sandmann and the rest of the Covington Catholic students did nothing wrong at the March for Life. The MAGA hat-wearing students made headlines, of course, when the media and leftists freaked out, jumped all over them after this video showing Sandmann smiling with the Native American left-wing activist Nathan Phillips got in his face, banged the drum. Well, now, if the media had bothered to do any homework, be responsible in any way, they would have realized that Phillips was full of it, as behind-the-scenes video we played on the Ingram Angle showed.
Do you think, sir, you should have walked away?
That's what I was trying to do. We were surrounded. We couldn't go right, we couldn't go left, back.
Though Mr. Phillips later claimed he was trying to get to the Lincoln Monument, he bypassed the most direct and unobstructed pathway and went straight to where the Covington boys were standing.
Now, after initially adding to the pylon, the Covington bishop and the diocese soon realized that they too had unfairly tarred these kids. That was unbelievable. Now, to make amends, they hired an independent team to reach their own conclusions. Now, get a load of the wasted resources that came as a result of